Okay, so one of my viewers talked about left a comment about smart contract audit, you know how you install tools, etc. So I found this article. There are plenty of articles, by the way, on audits. Essentially, all a smart contract audit is testing. Um, so they define an audit. Testing the changes, event testing, error testing, checking the messages. Um, and we've seen some of these tools that have the ability to debug and run and test results. And of course, Truffle is one of them, Remix. And Remix is fairly fully featured. It's got it's got debugging in there. Let me do a little contrast. Doesn't require. Let's see if this. It doesn't require anything put into the. Okay, so we can choose this, and we go to this, and we go. You can just compile it. And then you can publish it and publish it. It's published successfully, and then you can run it. Well, we have to deploy it. Deploys, and you can see here, so it gives you great opportunity to test your contract and all the methods that you may have. And the change owner has new owner, so we can pick an address out of here, let's say, and copy that. I want to go back up here, and you can see, you can test and see what the results are, and so on. So that's Remix. They also talk about some other tools that are more specific. In particular, Sonar Solidity, Smart Anvil, and tools that will actually, create graphs, do different things. And then they give you here some best practices. And these are basically good software engineering practices. The sooner you catch your bugs, the easier it is to fix. Create it, you want to, if it's a sophisticated contract, you want to create a test plan. What do you have to test? So that you make sure everything's covered, and that's a living document. It changes, or you see, oh, I missed this. I'm also, they talk about these tools. Any tool that can automate testing is going to be helpful. I'll give you an example from an actual situation, not related to smart contracts. But I worked for a commercial company, and they made these big, fairly sophisticated system to store documents, etc. And when I started there as a tester, and when I started there, the way it worked is every so often, when we were getting ready to release, we do a stress test. And literally that meant all the testers would go into the lab and just try to pound on the system. and it was very inefficient because we spent a lot of time waiting to get a developer to look at something that broke, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not very efficient way of testing our system as a whole. So one of my coworkers developed a way to run these stress tests, these overall stress tests in an automated fashion, and I don't know how much money it saved the company, but it had to be a lot. Basically, from having half a dozen engineers spending half their day waiting for a developer to come and have a look at why something was broken, we can run these tests throughout the whole development cycle, overnight, over weekends. No one had to be there, and get a lot more data a lot more quickly, more thoroughly, test the system. And so any part of your testing, if you have especially a more sophisticated system, and you can automate the testing, for example, they're talking here about sonar solidity. So this is, will help you find bugs. There's other tools, but if you can use automated tools to find problems, that is going to save you time. The tools may not think of everything, so it's always good to, think about the most critical paths and things, edge cases. So what if I give it some crazy value? What's it going to do? Now when we're talking about DApps, obviously you have the contract, which is what this article covers. It's smart contract audit would cover. And you have might have a different method of testing the IDE above that contract. And you're looking for different things, has it react the IDE to, not the IDE, the UI to bad data. And in terms of installing, which is one of the specific things this gentleman mentioned, I think it was gentleman, but this viewer mentioned, this depends on what you're doing. Doing truffle, it's just an NPM. So Remix is just typical starting a React.js type application, and these apps probably have their own way of using them. And like I said, this one looks like it's a simple npm install, and again, there are things you can do. Reuse. Handle bad. If something bad's going to happen, handle that. Plan for reuse. If you can borrow, do something once and use it in several different contracts, well, that'll save you time. So, especially since you have, this is an object, Solidity is object oriented, so you can, it has ways of reusing things through that. There are patterns, different ways of doing things. So these are the things that you should be aware of. And again, this is only one article. There are tons of articles on contract audit. I don't know why they call it audit. It's really going through code to avoid any, right. So it's why they're calling audit, instead of testing. I don't know, but it's essentially the same thing. Of course, like anything these days, you have to be concerned with security, especially in a smart contract because it's hanging out there on the blockchain. Um, so you and let's see what this is. So this is a very detailed article about how to do this. Um, how you analyze. And again, they talk about automated and manual. So that could be something like code reviews. Have people look at when they finish something, have someone else look at it and find things they may have overlooked. I mean, the thing with a developer when you're developing is you are too in bed with the thing you're developing, and it's very easy to miss something. Or I'll give you another story. I was working on something, and one of my coworkers was testing it, and she come back to me and said, "Oh, this isn't working right. When you bring up this window, it's not right." And we gained this problem, and I went and I tried to reproduce it, and then I had her literally come to my desk and reproduce it with me watching her. Turns out I got into a habit of doing this functionality in a particular way, and she had a different way of doing it. And the end result was she found a bug, and I never saw it because I was doing the same thing in a different fashion. So these are the things to be aware of. So anyway, hopefully this has been helpful. In terms of installation, like I say, if you're using Truffle or Remix, it's just the normal install for Truffle or Remix. The other, whatever tools you're using, they should have instructions on how to install the tool and how to take advantage of the tool. Again, hopefully this has been helpful. If it has been, please give a like. Please subscribe. Please share. And with your friends who might be interested, ring the bell to get further videos. Just one thing I'm thinking of is perhaps moving my stuff to have another site that's a little bit more branded and might be a better place to park my stuff. So if I do that, I will provide links. I'll put something on the site so you know where to find any further stuff. Anyway, take care, and I will speak to you next time.